Hi, and welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I'm really glad you're here. Today's date is Friday, December 9th, 2022. Before I get into the topic tonight that we'll be doing a read on and discussing, I wanted to remind everybody who is a regular viewer that on the third Sunday of every month, I do a live stream and we have a meditation. The focus is always positive, and this month, my lovely moderator, Julie, suggested that we have a meditation about the mainstream media. Just a reminder, we'll be phrasing everything in a positive way. So not for what we don't want them to do, but what we do want them to do. Become trustworthy, report truth, be accountable for what they report, things like that, okay? Definitely a need there. So any positive intention is welcome. There'll be more information located on my channel page under the community tab, and I'll have a live stream schedule up shortly. So you're welcome to join us if you care to. Positive energy is always welcome. So let's get into what we're talking about tonight. I've had several of my subscribers ask me to do a read about Germany. And I'm going to say that kind of in general because there's been quite a bit of activity in the last week or so happening in Germany. First of all media is reporting that Angela Merkel has been detained for the second time. The first time was in 2020, that her agreed upon role after that detainment has been fulfilled, and she is detained once more. Now, that's only being reported on alt media. So let's just hang on to that thought for just a minute. There's also other activity happening in Germany right now. Before we get into that, let me channel my former school teacher self, and let's look at a political map so we know exactly what we're talking about, just in case there's any question. You see, if you remember, if you've been listening to my channel, we read about some white hat activity happening in Switzerland. And Germany does share a portion of its border with Switzerland. This may be relevant to what we're talking about and what we'll be doing the tarot read about. So again, this is Europe, Germany's here, Switzerland's there. And it's just a good refresher to see what different countries border which countries. Okay, well, one of my sources for news out of Germany wrote me, and I'm going to share part of what was shared with me with you. And I admit right now I am going to butcher at least one name, probably a couple of words. I don't speak German, so my reading vocabulary and my spoken one don't always match up accurately. And just want to let you know, so please don't chew me up in the comments. I'm just trying to share something that's interesting enough that I'm going to proceed even knowing that I'm not going to say the names right. There's a alt media personality in Germany. His name his last name is Ikaroff, and his home was raided recently. His Telegram channel is still up. His YouTube channel is still up. I'll show you where I've kind of compiled some of this information I'm referencing later in this video, okay? He's one of the most prominent, Mr. Ikaroff is one of the most prominent truthers in Germany from the time the pandemic started, okay? Now, it's interesting to note the German media and Wikipedia claim that COVID deniers are just the same thing in Germany as if they were extreme right terrorists or Reichsbürger or anti-Semites, all the same thing. That's one of those broad paintbrushes that just doesn't work, as we see here in the United States. I'm a good example for that. I'm conservative enough that I'm considered far right, but I'm not an extremist. I'm a grandma, I'm a retired teacher, I'm a former female veteran of the Vietnam era. I'm extremely patriotic. I love my country. I'm intelligent, and I look for information in odd corners because it's not always readily available. That doesn't make me anti-Semite. Now, I do not, hiding behind the skirts of that is often the Khazarian mafia, and I am no fan of theirs, never will be. If you look at some of their precepts, they include blood rituals and sacrifices, things like that. Who could be for those? And unfortunately, they hide behind those claims. When you focus on them, they claim you're anti-Semite. And that's across the planet. So we need to be very aware that there's two different entities going on there. Okay, now this past week, 25 Reichsbürger were arrested. The and my correspondent thought that it was possibly to keep any whispers of the Angela Merkel re-detainment out of the news. Okay, because he believes that those arrests actually happened back in November, not just this last week. Okay, why bring it up now if it wasn't, the purpose wasn't to deflect from another story? Look here, not there. It happens worldwide. Okay. Now, Reichsbürger are a controversial group. And as he says, he wouldn't want to be associated closely with them too much, but they do have some interesting points that they keep stressing. One of their claims is that in 1949, Germany became a company or corporation, much the way the US became a corporation in 1871. We know that's true. We've seen the bankruptcy papers for the Bankrupt Corporation of America. Okay. If that's true, the German Federation does not exist. There's no German constitution or founding law. Okay. And so I'm not going to read on that because we can read up on it and form opinions about it. I don't think we need to ask the universe about that. And I don't want to be seen to be too aligned with anything that is that controversial as that group seems to be. Okay. One thing he noted that was interesting that does seem to put a little bit of a confirmation on their theories. In Germany, your ID card is called a Personalausweis. Now, personal in German stands for personnel, not personal like it does in the English language. And Ausweis stands for ID. So basically, a German ID for a German citizen says personnel badge. That does tend to make you think that maybe there's something to that claim that they're incorporated and their citizens are corporate assets, just like we Americans were. Something to think about. Okay. Now, he also said that they had their first emergency broadcast test yesterday. When he wrote me, so it would have been 2 days ago at 11 a.m. The EBS was sent out on all phones. At the same time, air sirens went off as well as a spoken message on his city's PA system. And he says, all in all, this has been one of the more active weeks over here. And he wondered if I'd like to do a reading about Germany. He's quietly hoping that the recent activities in Switzerland have been now extended into Germany or will arrive here shortly. Because Germany is not only quite heavily asleep, there's some exceptions, as you've seen with my correspondent and that Mr. T that I was reading about, not our American one, but the German one. Okay, there's some exceptions, but there is cleanup that's needed there too. And I have to freely admit, one of the reasons I don't do a lot of readings about Europe is, first of all, with the distance, we don't get a lot of reporting here about them. And second of all, is just, Spirit tells me just that there's still a lot of people asleep there. And so I want to be a comfort and resource to those that are awake that find my channel. But I don't want to get into topics if they're so heavy that we can't lift them and lift ourselves in the process. But I think this might be one of those times when we can do a little of that. Okay. Now, before I get into the read, I'm going to switch over to and show you where I compiled some information on my Facebook page, and I'll have a link to it. This way, it's like a two-step place to get to that link. But even then, I've tried to use sources that aren't too controversial because Facebook isn't very happy with me. I wonder why. Okay, here's my Facebook page, and like I said, I'll have a link to it. Right now it's on private till I get this video done. Here's a link to an 18-second video that probably shows, or it's likely that it documents the first detainment of Angela Merkel in June of 2020. Then here is selected text that I was just reading from my correspondent. Here is the YouTube channel for the prominent alt-right German truther. And here is just a very generic, and it's not pro, synopsis according to a not pro source of what the Reichsbürger movement is. So there's some little bit of homework there for you if you're interested. I do have a teacher tip for you. I don't speak German, obviously, or I wouldn't have butchered those names like I did. So when I was looking at video that was in German, I've done the same thing with French and with Spanish because I'm not bilingual like I wish I was. I can cut and paste the closed captioning and go to Google Translate and find out in my language I am familiar with what is being said. And I just thought I'd put that out there for you in case you have the same, if you follow some of my links in their foreign language to you, do that. Go to closed captioning, then cut and paste some text. If you don't know how to cut and paste text, there's YouTube videos for that. There's YouTube videos for almost everything. So you can get yourself up to speed, and that way you can kind of confirm, even if you do it with selective bits of text like I do, then I confirm that I'm being told something accurate, or it seems to be fairly accurate. So I thought I'd share that tip with you. Now, back to Germany. They've had an EBS. They've had possibly a re-detainment of Angela Merkel. They've had the arrests, which seem to have already been done, being promoted as brand news, and a coup attempt that was stopped. And so my question for the universe tonight is going to be, okay, are these some of these events attempts to deflect from the very real possibility that white hat actions have extended into Germany? Okay, so have white hat actions extended into Germany? And is there other information the universe wants us to know? Let's find out. Makes you wonder if we're all getting closer to go time. This activity, recent events from the EBS to the publicized arrests, are they attempts to deflect from the very real possibility that white hat action has extended into Germany now from Switzerland? Our first card, we got a yes. Thank you, Hugo, for the tip. Ace of Wands. Three of Pentacles. Hermit. We have the High Priestess. Seven of Swords. Three of Cups. Judgment. Oh my gosh. Okay, so our question was, are some of these reported activities in Germany a result of some white hat action that has been initiated there? We do know that there are militaries across the planet that are waiting for go time, but even though they're waiting for the big push, there's still actions that are happening in the background. We got a solid yes on that question here with the Ace of Wands. Now, remember, I also asked if there was other information the universe wanted us to know. So here we go. Besides the yes, that this is indicative of white hat action that is happening, cleanup that's happening in Germany, okay, we're being reassured that what is going on is very well thought out, planned, and agreed upon. So it's white hat action solidly, and it's been strategically pristine. So no worries there. Recent past, we have the Hermit. Now, he's not only a white hat alliance card, but he's indicative of off-world energy. If your lens just says divine, that's fine, okay? But it could also be a combination, depending on where you are in your belief system, of future help that's helping to make this happen. and or it possibly off-world, because I personally believe we have some very benevolent help righting some wrongs that were done to humanity. And so, yeah, it's a well-coordinated, planned effort, and it is unstoppable with this kind of energy here. Now, I believe this card here, the High Priestess, indicates Angela Merkel, okay? It's a duality card, it's a secrets card. It often shows up when there is gender issues with someone. And so it's quite possible that Miss Merkel wasn't clearly one or the other genders, or at least this current iteration of her isn't. And so it's just a nod here that the white hats, see, they've got her on both sides here. She is being detained. Okay. Now, she was hoping to still get away with a few things, and she probably still has some tricks up her sleeve, or she's going to claim she's got some more intel and is still useful to the alliance, what have you. But the fact of the matter is, she is a product user. And so because of that, it was time for her to face judgment, as is with what's happening with so many who do. Okay. So when that judgment card shows up, which it keeps doing here with these reads, it is the judgment of the universe against those who harm little ones, use products for them, things like that. Okay. I don't think those people associated with the alliance and the white hats, who their core mission is to have humanity be free and sovereign and back on a path our Creator intended, I don't think they have any worries that this judgment card is ever with them as far as accounting to justice. Possibly a review of past actions. We can't help that. We're human. We can come away from different things with moral and psychic injuries that need to be reflected on. Let's get a little more information on here. Okay, 5 of Cups. Fives are temporary. This is a card that shows a lot of sadness, okay? And it landed right here on Angela, so she's not feeling too happy right now. She thought, she was hoping to have a little more. Deep State card showing up here. That is who our opponent is the Deep State, okay? And Germany, just like the rest of us, is facing this tower moment. Let's do it and make ourselves proud of how we faced this tower moment. There is a tower moment that's coming. We've been told it's going to be quiet, 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 discouragingly quiet, and then boom. We're getting close to boom time, guys, when we not only hold the line, but we advance it. Part of this is what's going on quietly in Germany. And we have the Queen of Wands showing up for our final card, and she is an accomplishment card. So beautiful card to show on top here that we are going to accomplish our objectives. And I do truly, sincerely believe humanity is going to be freed and sovereign. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it very much. And you didn't have to spend it with me, and you chose to, and it's valued very, very much. For those of you that subscribe, I appreciate it. If you have had to resubscribe, which happens to quite a few of you, welcome back. And if you've sent me some holiday cheer, and some people have kind of privately via Buy Me a Coffee, thank you so much for your generosity. Make sure you take care of yourself and your loved ones first before you spread your bounty a little farther. Okay, it's appreciated, but I want you to take good care of yourselves, and I never want to be a PAY patriot. That's it for this video. Thank you so much. Remember, on the 18th, we'll be having a meditation, because it's not just current events here. Part of it is we are working to grow ourselves to be ready to take a seat at a much bigger than earth plane table. Good night.